There's a lot of energy in this room. I'm Jackie Casillas. I'm your council member in District 1 here in the city of Corona. And I've been waiting 32 years for this election cycle. Congressman Calvert has been my representative, unfortunately, for way too long. And like you, I'm fired up and ready to get Will elected. So, are you all ready to go all in to help Will win this fight? Are you ready to make this the year that we bring Calvert back home? All right, without further ado, put your hands together for our next Congressman, Will Rawlings.
Thank you. All right, yeah, this is, what an awesome turnout, y'all. On a Sunday, no less. How's everybody doing? Good? Doing good? Have you recovered from Trumpchella yet? That's gonna take longer than a week, y'all. It's gonna take a long time. I got a text from a friend of mine yesterday and he said, you know, I was watching the Donald Trump rally in Coachella and Trump just endorsed your opponent on stage and called you a radical California liberal. Yeah. And my friend was surprised because he's like, oh, you're a radical California liberal. Didn't you work for a Republican governor your first job out of college? Didn't you work in law enforcement alongside Republicans and Democrats to protect everybody in this congressional district? And didn't you volunteer to help the Secret Service protect Donald Trump when you were a federal prosecutor? And I said, yes, I did all that. And let's give our law enforcement personnel a huge round of applause for doing the hard work. So naturally, I Googled this because I wanted to see the part where I got called a California liberal, a radical. And so I pulled up the YouTube video, and I was scrolling, and like a lot of people at the rally, right, I started to get bored. I couldn't follow what was happening, and eventually I fell asleep. So I still haven't seen it yet. Someone's gonna have to clip it. So how y'all doing? Are you feeling fired up? Yeah! Okay. Are you ready to fire Ken Calvert? Yeah! Are you ready to fire Mike Johnson? Yeah! And are you ready to make Hakeem Jeffries the next Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives? Me too, y'all. And I just want to thank everybody here. I know so many of you have been helping this campaign, not just in 2024, but going all the way back to the midterms in 2022. Thank you for having my back. We are going to finish the job in the next 23 days. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Now, apparently there's another rally going on today. Did you guys hear about this? So Ken Calvert apparently is holding a secret rally. Press has not been invited to this. Yeah. Secret rally with Mike Johnson, the current Speaker of the U.S. House. Yeah. And you'll be shocked to learn that I did not attend that rally because as a gay man, the Speaker believes that he would spontaneously burst into flames if I came within 20 feet of him. And our firefighters are working way too hard in Riverside County to have to deal with that. Can we give our firefighters a huge round of applause, by the way? And look, I am not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on identity politics today, right? Because I know a lot of people are sick of identity politics. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the fact that people like Ken Calvert and Mike Johnson are opposed to us adopting kids, are opposed to us serving in the U.S. military, or in the case of Ken Calvert, voted against the Matthew Shepard hate crimes bill. All I will say is that I do hope that Mike Johnson and Ken Calvert eventually realize that shade never made anybody less gay. I think a famous childless cat lady once said that. So are you guys ready for a new generation of leadership in Congress? And are you ready for a representative who is going to take America to 2050 instead of 1950? Me too, because Mike Johnson and Ken Calvert and their Handmaid's Tale version of government should be nowhere near you, your bedroom, or your doctor's office, right? These guys do not represent Southern California values, and they sure as hell do not represent the next generation of leadership in Washington, D.C. And think about this for a second. Think about this, right? Instead of bringing infrastructure money to Corona, Ken Calvert is bringing Mike Johnson, the co-sponsor of a national abortion ban, right? That's right. Calvert said no to the largest bipartisan infrastructure bill in U.S. history, a bill that is bringing $300 million in infrastructure funding to our county. And he said yes to the guy who wants to monitor women's pregnancies. He said yes to Commander Waterford, right? There's a lot at stake this November, but it's no surprise that Ken Calvert is bringing somebody like that to our communities, because Ken Calvert already supported a national abortion ban with no exceptions. And do not be fooled by what the guy is trying to tell you right now, because his votes speak louder than his words. He backed a national ban with no exceptions, period. He voted against a national right to contraception. I repeat, voted no on protecting access to condoms and birth control. And he voted to punish doctors and nurses who provide reproductive health care to women. All of us are here today because we do not want that kind of extreme bullshit in Riverside County. Do y'all remember that line that Pete Buttigieg had a few years back where he said how surprising it was to see Mike Pence become the cheerleader for the porn star presidency? Well, now we have Mike Johnson becoming the cheerleader for Ken Calvert, a guy caught with a prostitute by police while a sitting member of Congress. And by the way, I'm not judging that. I'm not judging that. What I am judging is a congressman who thinks it's okay for him to do what he wants in his private life, turning around and telling women they don't have a right to their own body. Americans are sick and tired of hypocrisy from lifelong politicians in Washington, D.C. And when I get to Congress, I will proudly cast my vote for the Women's Health Protection Act and restore Roe versus Wade as the law of the land in this country once again. Because Ken Calvert and Mike Johnson can mind their own damn business. Now, like I said, I didn't attend today's rally with Mike Johnson, but I will bet you $50 that Ken Calvert and Mike Johnson spent some time telling folks how they are going to secure the border and that immigrants are to blame for every conceivable problem in your life, from your taxes to your flat tire to that time you stubbed your toe on the bed frame last Thursday, right? But here's the truth. Ken Calvert and Mike Johnson have no idea what it takes to secure the border, and they have zero interest in actually securing it. That is exactly why these guys killed the toughest bipartisan border security bill in a generation, a bill that was backed by the Border Patrol itself. Because people like Ken Calvert and Mike Johnson would rather run on a problem and raise money for their own campaigns than actually fix it. Unlike Ken Calvert, I worked in law enforcement. I am the only person in this race who's gone after MS-13, the Sinaloa cartel, fentanyl traffickers, and violent gangs. I know firsthand the kind of hard work it takes from cops, federal agents, and prosecutors to actually defend our border and our communities. It is not easy work. They need our help. And that is why I will support the bipartisan bill that Calvert and Johnson killed. That's why I'll support modern border security measures like anti-tunneling technology, thermal imaging, drones. That's why I will vote to put more boots on the ground. But unlike Calvert and Johnson, I will also fight for our dreamers. And I will always, always oppose. And I will always, always oppose separating little kids from their parents, something that should never happen again in the United States of America. Because while Ken Calvert and Mike Johnson are out there blaming California state government for everything that's wrong with your life, something over which they have zero control, by the way, right? You all are paying $2,500 a month for studio apartments in Corona. You're paying record high amounts for homes in Menifee. You're staying at your parents' houses in Lake Elsinore until you're 45 to try to save up a down payment. And here's what Mike Johnson and Ken Calvert aren't telling you at their rally. They have no real plans to actually make your life better. They don't care about your wallets. They care about their own. And they care about the wallets of the rich people and the huge corporations that are funding their campaigns. That's why they jacked up taxes on Californians in 2017 to give a tax break to billionaires in Wyoming, right? That's why they voted against capping the cost of your prescription drugs to protect big pharma. And that is why time and time again, Ken Calvert has used your tax dollars to line his own pockets. While your housing costs have skyrocketed, Ken Calvert has made up to $20 million in Congress by using your tax dollars to increase the value of his personal real estate investments. And don't take my word for it, by the way. Do not take my word for it. Just Google Ken Calvert and corruption, watch the 7-minute Fox News documentary about it, or Google all the statements from his own Republican colleagues in Congress who tried to keep him off the Appropriations Committee. No matter what party you belong to, you deserve so much better than that. You deserve a congressman who cares about whether you can afford to live here. You deserve a congressman who cares about whether you can afford prescription drugs, about whether a woman has a right to her own body. The good news is that for us in Riverside County, right here, we have the power to elect a new generation of leadership in November, to help pass the torch to a new generation, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, to try to end corruption in both parties with term limits, a ban on stock trading, and a lifetime ban on lobbying by former members of Congress. My old boss, Arnold Schwarzenegger, used to say that if you are proposing anti-corruption reforms that are pissing off both Democrats and Republicans, you are probably doing something right. Ken Calvert has had 16 terms in Congress. I am asking for 1 term. And I cannot promise to solve all of the world's problems in those first 2 years in Congress, but I can promise you that for every second of every day while I hold public office, your happiness and your security will be my mission. Let's get out there and win this election. Thank you guys so much for showing up and helping. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys so much for doing this. I really appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Seriously. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you.
I see why you won't debate you.